Greetings from Boston University General Student Union. This is my alma mater. I graduated in 2007, and I'm here for a panel discussion with the Boston University Filipinos Association, which is like kind of full circle. Wow, it's been 18 years since I've been here, and I'm peeking into the student union, and it is so much nicer than when I was here. So if you look around here, the only one that's the same is Panda Express, but all the other options are like fancier. Man, had I had this when I was a student, I would have definitely used my dining points and not ate so much Domino's. I don't know. It's pretty tasty. So I would study in my room. Best money tip is to use your actual meal plan and stop eating out. Because there's a lot of good restaurants, and so I used to eat out a ton, but my parents would buy me a meal plan. As a student, you get to go to all the cafeterias, and every semester I would have leftover points and leftover stuff. And now in hindsight, like, that was so much money. Eat what you have, go to the cafeteria. Don't DoorDash. All right, let's go. Let's go find this event. Hi, so I am Bernadette Joy. I run a financial education company called Crush Your Money Goals, and I also just published my first book in December. And my degrees in business and psychology were absolutely helpful as a personal finance educator. The journey started because I had a crap ton of student loans coming out of school and had to figure out how to pay them off. And my husband and I paid off $72,000 of student loans in less than a year, and then we went on to pay off all of our debt, and I just turned 40 and we're gonna retire this year. I share that with you because back then I was just trying to get a job and doing all the things that I'm supposed to do and get the good grades and make sure that I don't get yelled at by my parents when I get home. And looking back, a lot of the things that I learned both from school and being part of FSA, I get to speak on a lot of stages. I've done TED Talk, I've done South by Southwest, I've done a lot of those things, but none of those were scarier than Tinikling. So I was like, if I could do that, I could talk on a stage. And I'm really excited to see all of you grow in your careers and take these experiences from working with each other and learning how to manage conflict and chismes and all of that stuff. It will really help you in the long run.
But if you could just go in a little bit more in depth about how being part of
I will say two things. Being part of BUFSA made me proud to be Filipino. I was not before I came to college, and that's really helped me in my career later on because I have consistently had to advocate for myself. As a Filipino person in personal finance, there's not many, if not any, who are doing that. And as an example, like this, when I was getting this book published, I had to essentially advocate and fight my publisher to say, I want my picture on the cover, because if you go to Barnes & Noble's and you look at the personal finance section, there is nobody that looks like us. There's no one that looks like us. And the other piece of BUFSA that really helped me was like, the Chismes was actually a great training ground for being a content creator. So I have a YouTube channel, I have a podcast, I have Instagram, and people will come out of the woodwork and tell you that you suck and tell you that you're not good enough and tell you all these things. And I'm like, oh, I've heard this before. And learning how to deal with that conflict has made me a lot stronger. I had someone, total stranger, say, Bridget was good, but she brags too much about her accomplishments. And I'm like, I've seen this before. I've seen someone who doesn't even bother to learn my name. My name is Bernadette, who says that I'm not humble enough because we're all told to be so humble and keep our heads down. No, we're overworked, and that's what's gonna keep us underpaid. And so the fact that y'all can show up and do these shows and be proud on stage and share your culture, that is actually gonna help you in the workforce, I promise you. Challenges, which I'm hoping we can change with your generation, is, at least for me and my generation, I can't speak for everyone's, but in the Filipino community, we don't talk about money enough. And if we talk about money, it's more like what we think people have, like how big their house is or how nice their car is. My challenge right now in retiring, I'm looking for founders to invest in. I'm looking for other investors, and people are just afraid to talk about money. And so one of the biggest challenges that's coming up for me right now is to encourage Asian Americans, but particularly Filipinos, to talk more openly about money so that we can help each other out and not have to be so underpaid and overworked. I'm going to say, since I'm a money coach, it's impacting my industry a lot, particularly a lot of the things related to taxes, obviously, to student loans, to Social Security, a lot of things that our communities are relying on. And because I was very concerned, regardless of your political affiliation, I was very concerned about this upcoming election. And so I was part of the Kamala Harris campaign in North Carolina as part of going to all of the events and spreading the word about things. And I was wearing this exact same jacket at one of the rallies, and one other Filipino person was like, "Hoy!" and saw me from all the way across the room. And she's like, "Come here, because you're Filipino, and I know you're Filipino." But we were the only 2 Filipinos out of 1,000 people. So I'm saying this like lovingly, y'all, like we cannot just leave this conversation at the dinner table. If you care about these things and you're concerned about what's going on in your local governments, you have to get involved. And we cannot just be having 1 or 2 Filipinos there. We are very underrepresented when it comes to our voices in these legislation. So I'm really encouraging you to consider, even if you don't want to get involved at the big federal level, like just getting involved in your local community at the state level or at the city level is really important. Great job on organizing.